Hi, Rich Carrubba for bowlingball.com. Today's video is how to throw a strike in bowling, and this is part 2 of a series, of a 3-part series. Part 1, we talked about the location of the pocket. And you can read these videos right on Bowlversity section, or read these articles on Bowlversity section of our website. Just click on Bowlversity button, and then click on written articles, bowling tips. You'll find them, these articles, and you can read them and kind of help them interact together for you. Now, we're dedicating this series to you new bowlers, you beginners, or maybe people that are experienced enough and have averaged 135 or 140, and you're looking really seriously to make some improvements in your game. Some of the basics things that can help bowlers improve. And one of the things we talked about in part 1 was pocket location, how to locate the pocket on the pin deck. Today, let's talk about initial alignment so you can get the bowling ball to the pocket. That's going to get you higher scores. Everyone wants higher scores. So that's one of the ingredients in getting them. Now, what we want to do is typically the bowling centers create a lane oiling pattern that makes it pretty easy to get to the pocket if you play the second arrow from either the right or left side of the lane. You know, those bowling guides that are 15 feet beyond the foul line and dovetail or arrow configuration. The second arrow in, it's about 10 boards in from the edge of the lane on both sides. So if you're a right-handed bowler, use the right-handed second arrow. Back on the approach where the guide dots help you line up. The row of guides at the foul line correspond to the guides 12 feet back and 15 feet back. Certainly the center guides do. So you may see some more guides at the foul line than you do back on the further back on the approach. But the large guide right in the center of the approach corresponds to the guides further back on the approach. If you put the center of your bowling to, if you're a right-handed bowler, your slide foot's your left foot. The slide foot, slide shoe, the center of it, the toe, should be on the center dot. So the instep of your slide shoe would cover about 2 boards to the right of it, which would be the 18 board. Okay, left-handed the opposite. Your right foot would be your slide shoe, and the toe should be lined up on the center dot. Now, this whole system of alignment initially is predicated on walking a straight line to the foul line. If you move left or right from where you originally lined up, you may have to adjust your starting position slightly. We prefer that you can end up on the same board you start with. Typically, that's a good system for new bowlers and for lower average players who are trying to improve. Anytime you start walking away from your target, you better consult a coach to make sure that your drift pattern works well with your alignment. Okay? We recommend you see a coach anyway. Anyway, bowlingball.com wants to also recommend to you that if you use the second arrow, you'll notice if you slide on the center dot, that second arrow is lined up to the outside edge of your bowling shoulder pretty well. So it's pretty easy for your hand to follow through toward the second arrow and the ball go in that direction. And if you do that, you're going to have a pretty good chance of getting to the pocket. Now, if you throw the ball real straight, you probably got to adjust further to the edge of the lane and take a straighter, more direct angle over the second arrow and down the lane to the pocket located at the 17.5 board, way down the lane 60 feet on the pin deck. If you throw a modest hook sliding on the 20 board, the ball will go down the lane and hook into the pocket for you. And if you throw a wider hook, you need a wider angle down the lane to the break point through the target at the arrow and then hook back to the pocket, then you may have to stand further left, being a right-handed player. So you need to experiment with that, but it's a good idea to start with your slide foot on the center dot, walk straight, look at the second arrow, deliver the ball, and part 3 we'll talk about the alignment adjustments if the ball isn't ending up in the pocket. Now, if power players, for example, and you see a lot of them today hooking the ball a lot, and the attraction is, boy, they really blast the pins around. I want to learn to do that. You got to change your angle of delivery and really know what you're doing and how you're walking so your swing matches it. The more you hook the ball, the more challenges there are in getting aligned properly and making sure your arm swing path matches your footwork path properly so you have some control and consistency. The straighter you throw the ball, it's easier to have more accuracy and control toward your target. It's just as rules of thumb. We're not suggesting one way or the other. We think if you get with your coach and develop a style you already have, you may be easier to get you moving toward the path to progress that way. If you've never bowled and you're starting new, we recommend just a straight ball or with a slight hook is a good way to get started. There are articles at Bowlversity to tell you how to get a hook delivery or how to spin the ball or hook the ball and so on. And it'll help you with understanding the hand action required to develop that hook. But we wanted to give you this information so you know that typically the second arrow is the right place to start to get to the pocket. Let me repeat, go see a coach, take a bowling lesson. Please do not be stubborn and resist it. For the price of a bowling lesson, you can get so much benefit out of it. One time, I suggest a series of lessons, but you do as you wish. Sometimes there aren't certified coaches or local bowling professionals readily available if you live in rural areas. But nevertheless, sometime or other, make an effort to travel to go see a coach if you're having trouble getting lined up on the lane initially, and if you're having trouble finding the pocket. Okay? Hope some of these tips help you. Good luck and get out and practice.